Yeah, but we're going down the list of...
Let me get through the list. Stop stealing.
Yeah, he co-opted the reparations movement. It started with Yvette Carnell when she co-opted it because she was paid by John Tanton being on the board of Progressive for Immigration Reform. And then when they formed splinter groups, since we all know John Tanton finances white supremacist groups, and then so she co-opted the reparations movement and they took it over. So yeah, that's stealing.
Stop robbing.
Stop what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Someone's babbling.
Stop robbing.
Yeah, same thing. Oh, yeah, when you take money from people who you know need money.
For a museum? For a museum?
For a museum that never happened? Yeah, that's robbing the black community.
And when you take...
Y'all have the man in the room, but y'all want to keep on fucking talking.
Why don't you shut the fuck up? He don't even take his mic.
Be a fan and be a man. We're talking about facts. You are. You're being a fan.
Fred, take his mic.
You said you weren't with that FBA shit just 10 minutes ago. Because we're not, just 10 minutes ago, you were talking about how you weren't with FBA. He comes in the room, and all of a sudden you lost your dignity and your integrity. Yeah, Black Sheep.
Stop robbing.
All right, I'll go on mute, Black Sheep. You can go ahead.
No, you're good. Just
stop
we gotta move on.
Just Tether whining, oh my God.
And so he's still calling.
From the king of tethers.
People Africans descended to slaves. He's calling us Tether still. And that's name calling. And that's against the code.
Tariq, what is African American? Since you asked that question, what is African American?
And you just not whine so much.
I'm actually asking you a question.
He's deflecting. He's deflecting.
I said,
you're babbling.
What is an African American?
Black Sheep, you're giving him respect, and he's still telling you about it.
I know. He's an asshole. He can't help himself. But I'm asking this question. But we're not whining. We're actually having a conversation with you.
You don't have to convince them of that. It's a script they follow. They know you're not whining. What they do is that when they hear logic or facts, and then you're able to back it up, then they try to pivot, and they'll pivot.
I used to be with the FBA. Trust me, I am very well aware. So I'm asking. We're trying to have a proper dialogue with you.
No, you're not.
And no. What you don't get to do is to tell us what we're not doing, because
I'm not going to sit here whining.
But no one is whining. If people are telling you that there's a problem.
Because if it was your space, Tariq, you would have been muting people by now.
Exactly. And Richard is being extremely polite because he hasn't muted you yet.
I would like to talk to Richard.
And all that kind of behavior.
I would like to talk to Richard. And okay. Go ahead. There we go.
That's unfair. The African American women wanted to talk to you, and you didn't want to talk to them. That's amazing.
Because it's whining and lying, and I'm not going to even dignify that. So.
But I'm a Tether, so how does this work?
But you haven't whined yet, so I'm talking to you because you haven't whined. I don't really respect whining. So I'm going to ask you, sir, what's an African American?
African American is an ethnicity where people have part or whole ancestry dating back to folks who were enslaved in the United States of America. Next question.
Okay, that's not true. You know that's not
actually
true.
Very true.
Okay, why
that's actually super duper true.
Okay, then, sir, why do they say Barack Obama was the first African American president?
Because they're mistaken. People can be mistaken. Do you know people get mistaken about?
Like yourself, you were mistaken by saying that's what an African American is, sir. A person who comes from slavery is a foundational Black American.
Slavery that's connected to Africa.
Oh, stop it. So, you just admitted somebody can be mistaken, and you were mistaken, and that's what we're doing. We're correcting and getting some straight, and by getting these terms straight. And we are foundational Black Americans who built this country, and we were enslaved. And we're
all right, Tariq, well, where did the slaves come from? What was the slavery? Was it transatlantic slavery from Africa?
Some came from Africa, 3% here in the U.S. Some were enslaved here, some of the Black Aboriginal people. That's what makes us unique.
Not the slavery, the transatlantic slave trade that was done for specifically on Africa to steal Africans and that wasn't done specifically against the indigenous of America.
They did enslave many of the indigenous people. It's very well documented, and they mixed those in with the African people who were brought over, and that created a whole different ethnic group, which is us, foundational Black Americans, sir.
So even though you've been changed to a whole new ethnic group, that does not negate the fact that you have African lineage.
I've never said I absolutely have African ancestry.
I'm sorry, I disconnected. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So African Americans, also referred to as Black Americans and Afro Americans, are an ethnic group consisting of Americans with partial or total ancestry from sub-Saharan Africa. The term African American generally denotes descendants of enslaved Africans who are from the United States.
Then why do people like Elon Musk call themselves African American?
They're called a mistaken individual. Lots of people make errors.
Everybody's making mistakes, and that would include.
Well, no. Not everybody's making that mistake. Elon Musk is a person making an error. Like, I wouldn't change my entire ethnicity because one guy made an error in what he's calling me, right? Like, that wouldn't make any sense.
African with a K.
I just read you the definition.
That's why.
No. I just read you the definition. African Americans. African Americans.
African with a K. Afrikaner. African with a K.
Afrikaner. He's mistaken.
Okay, but he said he's an African American, and they said Barack Obama is
It was a play on words.
But that would be 2 people out of 40 million, Tariq. Like, that doesn't make any. So sadly, I'm an idiot engineer, right? But that doesn't make any logical sense. I can't imagine you coming into like a project manager meeting, me and a bunch of engineers are sitting around, and you're trying to make an entire production change to 40 million things because 2 things were off. I would immediately get up from the table and be like, man, I'm going to lunch.
Oh, no, that straw man doesn't work here, sir.
No. That's not a straw man. A straw man would be me saying that you're making a particular argument when you're not making that argument.
You have a lot of other immigrants who come here and claim to be African American as well, and they have
they're mistaken, Tariq. The individuals that you're counting and saying that this is the case, it probably can be counted with frickin' abacus, right? They're people who make errors in judgment, if that makes sense.
Technically, they're not mistaken because they are African American. They're not mistaken.
No, they're mistaken because the definition of an African American, by definition, they are not.
They're not mistaken.
No. They're mistaken.
You're from Africa and you become an American. You are an African American.
No, it would depend on the country you're from. They would be Nigerian American, Ghanaian American. They wouldn't just be African American.
Nigeria is in Africa, sir.
Of course it is, but that's the problem. Is that you'd be nation-American. If that makes any sense. African American is a specific ethnicity picked particularly because people in the West who were enslaved in the West can't necessarily pinpoint the exact country from which their ancestors were taken. So African American was used as early as the 1830s, and eventually Afro American. That was a popular thing in the 70s. But Afro is kind of a quirky word that people begun to not like. So, Jesse Jackson and company that you may not like, which arguably...
Word salad, Richard.
No, it's not word salad. It's actually facts.
Okay, Richard.
I think you're a pretty intelligent individual. I think you can listen to me talk and understand what I'm saying.
But no word salad.
Like, you don't have to ad hominem in order to... Because everyone else knows what I'm saying, right? Like, it's not like it's a mystery. But it's pretty intelligible, I would think, right?
Word salad right now. Let's wrap it up.
No, it's not word salad. And I have wrapped it up. Like, I did make sense, but the only thing you had was an ad hominem. So what I'm saying is, come on. You know African American is an ethnicity, and if people are making errors about that ethnicity, right? And it's like if a person from Turkey said that they were European, they would simply be mistaken. That's it.
So, Richard, this is why.
Go ahead.
Because of the mistakes and so many errors with the term.
We're going to move Turkey to Europe.
Okay, so because there are so many errors and so many mistakes and so much...
Turks will now be called the Europeans.
All right. This is why we made a term called Foundational Black American that is error-proof. Nobody can get confused about it.
No. You can make an error there. I'll tell you the error. The error is that at the end of it, it forms a group that sends people gun pictures as threats.
Now,
that's what happens.
That's trolling. So now you
it's not trolling. I'm telling you.
I can tell you an error as well. There's an error, isn't it, as well? Tariq,